G'day. You know, about 35 years ago, I made a decision in my life, and that was that I would go nowhere, I would do nothing, I would, I would not absent myself, separate myself from love ever again. Uh, what happened to me, I guess, happens to a lot of men. I lived in a relationship for 7 years longer than it was probably necessary, but what happened was I got to the point where I was working without love, I was living without love, I was um, playing sport without love, I was just doing so much in my life without love, and it just broke me. And I made a commitment, and I said, I'm never going to do that again. The, it was easier said than done, because at the end of the day, I had to go to work, and I had to work with people who were loveless. And I remember one day I went to a cement factory, and I went to dinner with the general manager of the whole plant, and we had I think it was half a billion dollars. That was no, $500,000. That's right. It was $500,000 contract, and that's a long way from $500 million, isn't it? Anyway, maybe dreams. And I said to him, I'll tell you what we'll do. For 10% more, we will give you an air pollution control system that will stop the dust coming from this cement plant and ruining the lives of people in the neighbourhood. And I'd been to dinner with him the night before with his wife and his beautiful little kids at his house. We'd had a barbie and a few beers. And so it wasn't just an offer of a business offer, it was really personal. And I said it with all my heart, and he said, no, it's too much. And I looked at him and I thought, but surely this is your children, this is your family, these are the people. And I burst into tears. I burst into tears. Shit, I remember it so clearly. I cried like a little baby, and I said, I just I can't do this anymore. And I walked out the door, rang up my business partner. We had a big factory down in Melbourne, and we made air pollution control systems, and I said, I can't do it anymore. And that was the end of my $13 million business. I just quit. And I'd made a commitment that was ridiculous in a sense to uphold, because the systems aren't in place for us to work with love. The systems aren't in place to bring love to work. And I'm not talking about a romantic love. I'm not talking about fluffy love. I'm talking about good human caring kindness, good human values that I don't think we can live without. I've worked with love up in the Himalayas with the Sherpas. I've been up there so many times, and there's love in everything they do, and I know it's possible. So I started writing a book. I wrote a book called Inner Wealth, which was sort of my way of saying how to work with love. And it was received with mixed reviews. For a little while, it was on a bestseller list, but it competed with a major event that came out, which was the explosion of the attack on the World Trade Center. It came out the week before that, and therefore really got hidden in the paperwork of the event of the time, as it should. But it also made the book even more relevant as far as I'm concerned. And I think there is an opportunity to bring into the world a different way of working that includes good-heartedness. So the byline of Inner Wealth was putting the heart and soul back into work. Originally it was heart and soul back into business, but they changed it. Wiley changed the title into Work and Life. And I think it's already in life. Most of us are committed to having loving, beautiful relationships, but the question is it at work? And what happens when a person loses their love at work? What happens when they come home after that? Because they get a default. And what I've found after coaching people for all this time, it's now 30 odd years since then, since I started doing all this, is what I've found is the more aggravated a person is at work and the less they love their work and the less they enjoy being at work, the more likely it is that they will load their expectation of their relationship so highly that it will fail. So it's almost like if we don't have love and goodness and good-heartedness at work, we become obsessed with having it outside of work. And that's not fair, because relationships grow at the border of support and challenge, just like work does. So the question really becomes, how do you balance life, and not by compensating for incompetence or bad working environments, but how do you have balance at work, which is unconditional love, which is do what you love at work, but so that you can come home and enjoy a relationship, rather than hope like hell that this relationship replaces that lost soul, that lost heart that could be and should be in our workplace. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's 35 years since I made that decision to quit my business and start this journey. And in that time, I've worked around the world with a lot of people. And I can honestly say, when the heart goes out of work, people do. And when people go out of their work, a lot of problems start. Health problems, relationship problems. And then they start to blame the relationship for their work, or their work for their relationship, and they don't know where to look for the solutions. And I think we have to step back a little bit when it comes to all these things and try to create a more refined and a more simple, I think that's really important to me, a more simple understanding of what it takes to be to work with a good heart. It's not niceness. It's not humbleness or mindfulness. It's not resilience. It's all those things packaged up. But when you work with a good heart, you know what you want, you're clear, you enjoy what you do, that's self-fulfillment. You turn up inspired, you know how to look after yourself. You don't ask work to give you more than it's necessary, because work is work. At the end of the day, you've got to put in to get out. I think there are complications at work because it's like living in an ashram with a diversity of people that you have to get on with and collaborate with, and not all of those people are employed for their super consciousness. Not all of them are actually earning the money that they're being paid. Not all of the people we work with are in a good space, in a healthy space. Some of them are angry, some of them are greedy, some of them are bitter, and some of them have stuff going on that's out of balance in their lives. And so we become healers at work. So I think it's really important for us to reframe this whole work dynamic in a way that we can say, I hereby want to turn up to work and do work that I love in spite of the work. And it's not saying I want to find the work that's good for me, because that's a ridiculous notion, that we can search around and find the work that is good for me. What we will find is something that's worth hurting for. I understand that. We will find something that's worth being sacrificial for. I understand that. I understand there's a pain in getting somewhere, and unless the somewhere is worthy of the pain, we will give it up. But there's no use saying, I want to work for free. I want to get paid for doing nothing. What we've got to do is be able to say, I want to put my heart and soul into this and believe in it in spite of the incompetence or ignorances or the unconsciousnesses of other people. And I think this is the key, to be able to do what you love, bring love to work in spite of it all. And that's self-leadership. And that's what I think it all comes down to at the end of the day. It comes down to good self-management, good self-leadership, to take responsibility back from the work, from the place, from the payment, from the people, from the culture, from the environment, and be the environment, be the love, be the energy that you want the world to be, and not reacting to things that go on around us. So I believe this is doable. And after this 35 years now, I think that the book I wrote, Inner Wealth, was really true. It's taken 35 years for me to believe that the book I wrote is really true. But it's only because when I tried to introduce it to places, I got so much pushback that I got doubt. And self-doubt's a damn killer. It's just such a shitty thing to feel. But I think in my own life, I have achieved the state that the book describes. I've achieved it with other people, and I've seen enough communities and organizations embrace the idea of balance and really healthy self-reliance, self-mastery, self-leadership, to say that if you can put the power in the hands of the individual to make change in their life, to be self-accountable, to be self-led, then I think you can turn the idea of being motivated off and being inspired on. And being inspired simply means I come to work, I'm responsible for me. I'm internally driven. And my internal drive is I don't want to work without love. That's just it. And why should I? Life's too short to live and work without love in any aspect of life. So I thought I'd just give you that little, background to some of the work I do. Have a beautiful day. Bye.